Hey there, Algebra 2. We are going to wrap up chapter 6 here. We're going to leave a couple things for later, and that'll make sense as we move through the year. But we're going to solve with these square roots and any other radicals that we have. So we'll see what happens here. The idea is we definitely want to get anything with a square root all by itself. So this thing right here, I want to get this by itself. So how do we get rid of this positive 3? I'm going to subtract 3. All right, so I have the square root of 2x minus 3 equals plain old 5 over here. And how do I get rid of the square root? I'm going to square it. Okay, because remember, this is like saying the 1/2 power. So I'm going to use that reciprocal power. Right? You're like, Mr. Tola, I already know that. I said, I know. I'm going to show you that intentionally because of the next problem. So what happens with the square and the square root? They cancel each other out. So 2x minus 3, 5 squared is 25. There we go. We're going to add 3. So 2x equals 28 and x equals 14 when we divide by 2. All right, so that's what we're after. That's what's going on here. So we're just going to be careful and intentional about what we're doing. So I have to get this parentheses, all right, to the 2/3 all by itself. So how do I get rid of this? Multiply by 3, divide by 3. You guys knew that. X plus 1, this is 2/3 power, 8 equals 4. How do we get rid of the 2/3 power? Well, I need to multiply this by something, right, in the exponent, so that it turns out to be 1 over 1. So what we use is the reciprocal, so 3 over 2. So that means this becomes 6 over 6. In other words, it just cancels itself out. So we get x plus 1 to the first power, which is x plus 1. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the square root, right? The square root of 4 gets me to 2. 2 to the third is then 8. And then we'll subtract the 1, so x equals 7. Right? Don't believe me? Plug it in. Okay. All right. So we can have this, given this in any format. So a couple things we're going to do all at the same time here. We're going to subtract this 1. So I know something has to be equal to 24, but what is that something? X plus 1, and this looks like a whole mess. Look, it's to the third power, and it's to the 5th root. Well, that seems a lot easier to work with, right? So that's why we just worked on translating these between radical and exponential form. So what power are we going to take it to? Well, if it says 3/5, I'm going to use 5 over 3. 5 over 3. I don't think that's going to work out very nicely because 24 is not a perfect cube. Okay, so remember you're going to use 24 caret parentheses 5 divided by 3 on un calculator. All right, I'm going to do that as well. So make sure you grab your calculator if you haven't already. All right, it says 199.688. 199.688 minus 1, so final answer 198.688. All right, don't believe me? Go plug it in. All right, well, we could. All right, but remember, this fraction up here is improper, so I do expect my answer to be larger than 24. That's kind of how that stuff works. All right, so that's kind of where we're cut off. We're going to add a few more things to this as we move into the next chapter. We'll circle back to using these to solve and check for extraneous solutions and even with multiple radicals. Okay, so kind of a short one this time because we were focused on basically being able to solve problems such as these. Okay, so that's where we'll keep things cut off so far this year in Algebra 2. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Peace.